Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Today we're discussing the future of the Grey Knights chapter. How they are needed now more than ever. No real need for a spoiler warning today, so let's just jump straight in. In the vast arsenal at the Imperium's disposal, perhaps the best and most effective weapon they have to combat the ruinous powers is the Grey Knights chapter. The chapter founded in the darkest days of the heresy by the Emperor of Mankind himself, on the Council of Malcador the Sigillite. Malcador alone knew how important they would become, and the chapter, alone amongst the Astartes, was created for that next war, the war against the forces of chaos. Ever since the Grey Knights' re-emergence from the warp, they have become the elite fighting force of the Imperium, the chapter all others turn to when the truly dire threats of the warp emerge. Perhaps no Call of Duty more famous than their sacrifice and banishment of the demon Primarch upon the wastes of Armageddon. With the fall of Cadia and the explosion of the Great Rift, the demonic forces of chaos now bestride the galaxy in force. The services of the Grey Knights have never been more in demand. The current status of the Grey Knights is relatively unknown. For me, I think it's safe to assume the Grey Knights have been sorely pressed across the galaxy, forced to turn a blind eye to ever more calls for aid, prioritizing only the most senior of threats. What we do know is that billions of Imperial citizens have died by Grey Knight hands, forced to wipe out ever more worlds to silence the knowledge of chaos. With the galaxy currently reeling from the renewed assault of Abaddon, with a new demigod of chaos appearing, desiring to elevate himself to the Pantheon, and with the demon Primarch Angron once again about to bestride the Imperium, things could not be any worse. The last time Angron was banished from the realm of mankind, it cost the Grey Knights virtually an entire brotherhood, losing more Marines in that one assault than they may lose in centuries. And now Angron will be walking the world of the living once more. This alone would have been the Grey Knights' most important priority. But now, with the Grey Knights possibly unable to banish the Primarch for longer than 8 days, it has also become their gravest. Quite possibly their gravest threat ever. In face of this threat, the question must now truly be asked. Are the Grey Knights enough? Is the most secret and revered chapter in all of the Imperium finally outmatched? With the return of Rabute Guilliman, the overflowing tides of chaos were slowly halted. The fate of Imperium Sanctus was spared, at least for the time being. Yet for all the Primarch's genius and strategic talent, the fact is this victory, if it could be called that, could only be accomplished thanks to the creations of Belisarius Cawl, the freshly unveiled Primaris Marines, the thousands upon thousands of them birthed within the Ultima founding, enabling Guilliman to send his Indomitus crusades out into the stars. But yet, even then, fully half the Imperium remains lost beyond the rift, and alone of all the Adeptus Astartes chapters, the Grey Knights remain untouched. Their Marines remained the firstborn, the original Emperor template. Their numbers remained the Codex requirement, no more than 1,000 Marines, and this is reconfirmed within the latest Codex. And so really for me the question must now be asked, given the latest upcoming disaster about to hit the Imperium Nihilus, is it time the Grey Knights adapted to survive? For the Imperium to survive? Is it time now for the Grey Knights to adopt the Primaris, for their Marines to become bigger, stronger, faster, more durable, able to survive wounds a standard Marine would fall to. A Grey Knight is already supposed to be the elite of the elite. Let's just ignore Grimnar wiping the floor with them for now. But wouldn't it make sense for them to now embrace this new evolution? That yes, they are the Emperor's own gene seed. That yes, they are the Sigillites chosen. But desperate times call for desperate measures. Call's technology has been nothing short of a tremendous success. There is no two ways about it. Even ardent critics such as Gabriel Seth have been won over, and fearing opposition such as the rebel High Lords have been removed from the picture. As far as the Imperium is concerned, the Primaris are the future. The Grey Knights, whilst retaining their own recruitment and training process, must surely now begin to implement the Primaris into their ranks. Now the success has become clear. With all that's becoming of the galaxy, of Imperium Nihilus becoming darker than ever before, with the calls and need for Grey Knights greater than ever before, and with them suffering losses faster than they ever have previously, I fully expect to see Grey Knight Primaris arising very soon. Because quite simply, if they don't, the Grey Knights may not survive. And honestly, even then, that may still not be enough. Just because the Grey Knights adopt the new improved design of Belisarius Call doesn't mean they are suddenly going to be able to meet every new challenge, turn back every threat. Again, the last conflict against Angron and his forces cost them virtually an entire brotherhood. Now he's only going to be gone a couple of days before coming straight back. It doesn't matter if it's Firstborn Marines or Primaris, they will fall at an astounding rate. It's a sacrifice of numbers the Grey Knights cannot hope to withstand. So could more drastic measures be needed? Could the Inquisition, heck maybe even Guilliman somehow, see the Grey Knight numbers expanded? Could we see a new Ultima founding of sorts? Not for the chapters across the stars, but to take the Grey Knights from a chapter to a legion. Could this force founded in the time of the legions finally become one themselves? Is the Grey Knights becoming a legion the only hope the Imperium really has against re-emerging threats such as Angron? In a universe where demons cannot truly be banished, doesn't it make sense to increase your greatest weapon against it? Now, I'm not saying this will actually happen. The Primaris, yes, you'd expect them to begin arriving, but the Legion talk is more fun theory discussion. But again, doesn't it make sense? Isn't it the logical conclusion? When demons are becoming mainstays of the galaxy, with chaos becoming impossible to contain, shouldn't the Inquisition, the High Lords of Terror, Guilliman, start thinking about increasing the size of their best weapon against it? Yes, the opposition to legions was the main reason behind Guilliman dismantling the first stage of the Indomitus Crusade. But the Grey Knights are the Imperium's greatest secret. Knowledge of them is not widely known at all. We only know their numbers thanks to the Codex. The Inquisition could implement a founding and the wider Imperium wouldn't know a thing. And this is the chapter founded on the Emperor's gene seed we're talking about here. The chapter who has never had a single Marine fall to chaos. If you're going to make any chapter a legion, then surely it must be them. While making the Grey Knights a legion would be the easiest and most logical answer for me, Maybe they could simply begin founding new chapters of them. Successor Grey Knight chapters. Now, this is absolutely something I would not want to see. I love the unique mystery of the Grey Knight chapter. Having them alone is what keeps them so special. But from a strictly in-universe lore perspective, it surely does make sense. The Imperium needs to do something to not only survive, but to turn back the tide. Loyal Primarchs aside, the Grey Knights are their best option for it. And in an Imperium where the Emperor's own creations have been adapted and changed after 10,000 years, in an Imperium where a Primarch has risen from death to reassume his position as Lord Commander, in an Imperium where the Custodes have been released from their chains to the throne world, is increasing the size of the Grey Knight chapter so incredulous? Honestly, I'm not sure it is, and it may just be the exact thing the Imperium needs to do. But as always everyone, what do you think? With demons becoming ever more present across the galaxy, with the plight of the Imperium becoming ever more darker, with Angron now becoming unbanishable, does the Imperium really need to contemplate the unthinkable? Do they need to increase their greatest weapon? Should the Grey Knights be expanded to become a legion? Should their numbers be increased vastly over the 1,000 limit? Or maybe should they have successors instead? As always, leave your thoughts in the comments below, I love to read them. Huge thank you to all my subscribers, your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. If you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too? With that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.